In this demonstration you will learn how to use a data template with a content control. Let's switch to Visual Studio. Here I've opened the main Windows SAML file of our customer's application. In the previous clip, you bound here the data context property of the customer's view to the selected view model property of the main view model that is in the data context. The selected view model property contains the customer's view model. Now let's replace here this hard-coded customer's view with a content control. So let's change this here to content control, and instead of binding the data context property, let's bind the content property of the content control. Now let's run the application and let's see what will happen. As you can see, the full qualified class name of the customer's view model is shown here. This is actually the result of the toString method of this customer's view model. Now let's define a look for this view model with a data template. Let's keep the application running and let's go back to the SAML editor. Here on the content control, let's add a closing element, and now let's set the content control's content template property with the property element syntax. This property is of type data template, so you need to assign a data template instance to that property. Now the view that we want to use here is the customer's view. So let's use our view prefix that we have defined in SAML, and that contains the customer's view user control. As the content is automatically in the data context of the data template, the customer's view will have the customer's view model in the data context. This means now everything should just work. Let's bring up the application again. Yes, as you can see, the navigation with the customer list is back, and you can select a customer and then you see the details. So everything worked. Let's go back to the SAML editor. Instead of defining this data template here locally, let's define it as a resource. So I remove it, and I also remove the property element, and I close this content control element directly. Now let's scroll up to the top of this file. On the window, let's use the property element window resources, and let's define the data template as a resource. On the data template, let's set the xKey attribute to customer's view model template. Now let's scroll down again to the content control, and on that content control, let's set now the content template property with the attribute syntax. Here, let's use the static resource markup extension, and you can see Visual Studio does not show here the resource. So let's scroll up and let's copy here the key, let's scroll down again, and let's paste it here for the static resource markup extension. Now let me bring up the application again. As you can see, everything still works. You can browse through the customers, and you can also move the navigation to the other side if you want. In the next clip, you will learn about another way how to reference a data template in this content control.